So picture this. It's 12:30 in the morning, dead quiet in Bozovo, Russia, about 120 miles from the Kremlin. Igor Sechin, basically Russia's oil king, is about to get the phone call that'll make Putin absolutely lose his mind. Why? Because Ukraine just sent a tiny 2-pound warhead to blow up Russia's massive $3 billion oil pipeline. We're talking about the Ryazan-Moscow pipeline here. It's like the steel artery keeping Russia's entire war machine alive. This 120-mile beast pumps out 1.2 million barrels of refined fuel every single day straight into Moscow, feeding about 30% of all the gasoline and diesel that keeps Russian tanks rolling and jets flying. For Russia, it's their $3 billion lifeline. For Ukraine, it's the perfect target. One weak spot that could cripple everything. And here's the thing. Getting a drone this close wasn't some lucky shot. This was the final move in a chess game that started weeks ago. Ukraine's Military Intelligence Directorate planned this strike like master hunters. They got fed a steady diet of US satellite data, mapped out every inch of that pipeline's path, and found this exact weak spot near Bozovo. By mid-August, the whole plan was locked and loaded, hit at exactly 12:30 a.m. when the late summer fog rolls in at a cool 50 degrees, and the Russian sentries are fighting off their third cup of lukewarm coffee. Now obviously the Russians guard this thing like it's the last slice of pizza on Earth. On the operator's tactical map, that pipeline shows up as a thin green line running straight through this terrifying spiderweb of red. That web? It's woven by Russia's absolute best defense systems. The S-400 air defense system with its fancy 92 N6E radar can spot a fighter jet 250 miles away at 40,000 feet. But here's the kicker. It totally struggles with tiny drones hugging the ground at just 130 feet. Backing it up is the Krasukha-4, this absolute beast of an electronic warfare system that can blanket 190 miles in jamming signals. But here's physics' dirty little secret that the Kremlin really doesn't want to know. Those billion-dollar systems are designed to look up. The Ukrainian drone flying at 130 feet is hugging the ground so tight it's practically mowing the lawn. Make sure you're subscribed to Military Investigation. We're breaking down the most insane military operations you've never heard of. 11:15 p.m., August 25th, 2025, Russia-Belarus border. An hour before the main strike, the first pieces of this chess game started moving. Under complete darkness, Ukrainian operators launched this flock of 15 Mugen 5 decoy drones. Think of them as basically plywood lawnmowers with wings, each costing about $500. Their whole job was to fly loud, fly dumb, and die spectacularly, pulling all eyes of Russia's air defense network away from the real show. But this wasn't just some simple decoy run. At the exact same moment, a second, way more lethal wave of long-range LIOT drones launched toward a completely different target, the massive oil refinery in Ryazan. This is where the real 4D chess begins, and it poses this classic tactical question for all you strategists watching. If you were the Ukrainian commander, would you risk your valuable long-range drones on a real secondary strike against the refinery, inflicting bonus damage but potentially losing them? Or would you play it safe and just use them as a noisy feint to guarantee the main FPV gets through? Ukraine decided to go for the jugular on both targets. While all this chaos was unfolding in the sky, the real ace in the hole was already deep inside Russia. A beat-up, unmarked panel truck looking like it belonged to some local bakery crept to a stop in this dense patch of woods just 12 miles from the Bozovo pipeline section. Inside, sitting in custom-built racks, were 2 FPV Reaper drones, each spooled with a 12-mile-long fiber optic cable. This truck was basically a mobile launch platform, a Trojan horse on wheels. For the driver, every single pothole was potential mission failure. Every pair of passing headlights was a potential firefight. They sat in absolute silence, waiting for the signal. Their mission? Launch the final surgical strike once the S-400s were busy looking the other way. 12:05 a.m. Inside this concrete bunker buried 30 feet underground, a Russian radar operator's console lights up with alerts. 15 slow-moving targets approaching from the northwest, the Mugen 5 decoys. At the exact same time, a second group of faster contacts appears heading directly for the Ryazan oil refinery. The crew responds by the book. The commander orders the Krasukha-4 electronic warfare system to full power. This massive bubble of jamming energy washes over the entire area, and those cheap Mugen 5s immediately start failing, their control links severed. On the screens, their icons flicker and die. The Panzer S-1 anti-aircraft systems engage the survivors, shredding them with cannon fire. Simultaneously, the powerful S-400 launchers, freed from the decoy distraction, fire a salvo of missiles at the refinery attackers, turning those inbound LIOT drones into fireballs. Within minutes, every hostile target on the board is gone. It's a clean sweep, a perfect defense. But the Russian commander isn't celebrating. He stares at the tactical display, this feeling of unease growing. His systems had performed exactly as designed, yet the attack felt all wrong. The decoy wave was too simple, too obvious. The refinery strike, while a real threat, was such a predictable target. The entire operation felt like some brute force distraction. "It's a feint," he says, his voice cutting through the quiet bunker. "This is too loud. They're trying to make us look one way so they can sneak something in somewhere else." He turns to a map displaying all critical infrastructure in their sector. His eyes trace the green line representing the Ryazan-Moscow pipeline. "It's quiet, too quiet. Get an Orlan 10 in the air now," he orders. The Orlan is this small, quiet reconnaissance drone, perfect for searching for low-altitude threats that the big S-400 radars might miss. "I want it sweeping the Bojovo corridor. Tell the pilot to fly low and use his thermal camera. Anything moving under 200 feet, I want to know about it. Find me what they're trying to hide." The hunter had just realized he was being hunted. 12:17 a.m. From the back of the truck, the first Reaper drone slides out on this silent pneumatic rail and disappears into the 50-degree fog. Its small electric motor barely makes a sound as it begins its 12-mile high-speed dash to the target, unspooling this thin fiber optic cable behind it. Suddenly, a new icon flashes on the Ukrainian operator's screen, accompanied by an urgent proximity warning. It's the Orlan 10. The recon drone is already in the air, actively sweeping the flight corridor with its thermal camera, specifically hunting for low-flying intruders. The Ukrainian operator doesn't hesitate. He pushes the stick forward, sending the Reaper into this gut-wrenching dive, dropping its altitude until it's skimming just feet above the treetops. This is a high-stakes tactic known as terrain masking, using the rolling hills and dense forests of the Russian countryside as physical cover to hide from the Orlan's prying eyes above. This is no longer a simple bombing run. It's a deadly game of cat and mouse. Every open field is a death trap. Every river crossing is a moment of total vulnerability. The operator is flying blind, relying completely on his drone's onboard AI and thermal camera to navigate a pitch-black landscape at 60 miles per hour, all while being stalked from above. The Reaper drone's only advantage is its unjammable connection. While the Orlan 10 is forced to communicate through the electronic chaos of the Krasukha-4, the Ukrainian pilot has this crystal-clear, lag-free 4K video feed thanks to his fiber optic tether. It's the one thing keeping him one step ahead of the hunter. The duel in the dark intensifies. The first Reaper drone is a blur of motion weaving through the forest, but the Orlan 10 is relentless, sticking to it like a shadow. The Ukrainian pilot knows he can't stay in the trees forever. He sees a gap, a wide open farmer's field he has to cross. It's a 30-second dash through a kill zone. He has no choice. The moment the Reaper breaks cover, the Orlan's thermal camera gets a perfect unobstructed lock. The Russian operator instantly transmits the drone's exact speed, altitude, and heading to the Panzer S 1 battery miles away via encrypted data link. Panzer's computer gets the data and calculates an intercept solution in milliseconds. A 57 E-6 missile roars off the Panzer S-1 at 2,300 miles per hour, its guidance system locking onto the drone's predicted path. The Ukrainian pilot sees the launch warning and yanks the stick hard left, throwing the drone into this violent, evasive maneuver. The drone survives. The missile screams past, missing by inches. The loss is a gut punch, but the tactical implication is far worse. That snapped fiber optic cable just became a 12-mile-long breadcrumb trail leading right back to their launch position. The Orlan 10 pilot doesn't need to see the truck. He just needs to follow the dead cable to its source. An urgent encrypted message flashes from the main command center to the laptop inside the panel truck. Position compromised. Evacuate now! The pilot knows the original cautious flight path is a death trap. There's only one option left: a straight line pedal to the metal dash for the target, right across open country. He pushes the drone even lower, to just 50 feet. A suicidal altitude that pushes the AI flight controller to its absolute limit. It's this desperate move that saves him. The Orlan 10, flying its search pattern at 500 feet, is looking down at the forest canopy searching for the truck. It's completely blind to the tiny Reaper screaming along below it. Inside the truck, the pilot hears the roar of the Orlan's engine through the thin metal roof as it banks sharply overhead. He's been spotted. He has seconds. Through his goggles, he sees it, the cold steel curve of the 40-inch pipeline gleaming faintly in the fog. The final 3 seconds of the mission have just begun. The entire Russian defense network is now converging on his exact location. It's a drag race to the finish line, and the prize is a $3 billion explosion. At 12:25 a.m., the Reaper drone slams into the pipeline. Its 2-pound-shaped charge is a precision surgical tool. What happened next wasn't just an explosion, it was a firestorm that lit up the night. High-pressure gasoline, aerosolized by the violent rupture, instantly mixes with the air, creating this massive fuel-air bomb. The heat from the impact ignites it. A 300-foot fireball erupts into the night sky, turning the foggy landscape into broad daylight. A 50 psi shockwave tears through, shredding the pipeline's steel skin. Designed for internal pressure, it buckles under the external blast, splitting open for 200 feet as fire races down the line. Inside the fleeing bakery truck, the pilot rips his goggles off. He can't see the fireball, but he can feel it. The shockwave hits the truck like a physical fist, nearly throwing it off the road. They didn't just hit the target, they vaporized it. For the next several hours, the fire rages, fed by an unstoppable torrent of fuel. The damage is catastrophic. Initial estimates put the repair cost at $50 million, but the real pain comes from the $250 million in lost fuel and economic disruption. The strategic fallout was immediate. Within days, Moscow's gas stations started hanging no fuel signs. The Russian military's southern front, which relied on that pipeline for 30% of its fuel, suddenly saw its supply chain dry up. Tanks can't roll on empty promises. A $12,000 investment of cheap decoys and 2 high-tech FPV drones just deleted a $3 billion strategic asset and hobbled an entire army group. Russia learned a valuable lesson that night. Don't poke the Ukrainian bear, especially when it's got a PhD in engineering and isn't afraid to get its hands dirty. One truck, one drone, one very bad morning for Moscow. Before you go, hit that subscribe button for Military Investigation. We're bringing you the most incredible untold military stories from around the world. So what should the history books call this insane mission? Drop your best operation name in the comments below. Operation Pipeline Panic? The Moscow gas shortage?